Welcome friends, welcome to freetaxeducation.com. So today we will start with the session 4 of service tax, reverse charge and partial reverse charge mechanism. So what is reverse charge mechanism? Reverse charge mechanism can be defined as where service recipient receives services from provider and these services are notified services by finance ministry under reverse charge mechanism. Then service receiver has to pay service tax on the value of service to the government. That means in this case the service provider will not pay any should not pay any service tax. The service tax should pay by service recipient or receiver. There are two types of reverse charge mechanism. One is 100% reverse charge mechanism where entire service tax value is paid by service receiver, and next one is partial reverse charge mechanism where partial service tax value is paid by service receiver and remaining will be paid by service provider. So these are two reverse charge mechanism, 100% and partial reverse charge mechanism. So what are the notified services? Which are the notified services under 100% reverse charge mechanism? The following are the services under 100% reverse charge mechanism. First one is legal services, service provided by lawyers to company. Goods Transport Agency, that is the shortcut is GTA. Most of the time this term is used as a GTA. This is Goods Transport Agency. That means a service provided by a goods transporter to the company. Sponsorship services, where sponsor need to pay a service tax to the government in certain conditions. Where sponsorship services, where company gives sponsorship to particular event and their name boards, brand names are located everywhere at the event, and for that company has to pay service tax on that. Insurance agency services, where insurance companies will pay service tax on a service received from their insurance agents. Import of service, importer will pay a service tax in India because we cannot give service tax because this import of service is almost free, and on that service tax need to pay by importer. 6 services of arbitral tribunal, receiver will pay the service tax on the same. And 7th is remuneration to director, a company who paid remuneration to the director will pay service tax on the same. These are the 7 types of services which are notified under 100% reverse charge mechanism, and on this who is receiver, who is the recipient of these services has to pay a service tax to the government on the same. Next is partial reverse charge mechanism. Following are the notified services under partial reverse charge mechanism. Services: manpower service, works contract services, security services, rent a cab services. So in the manpower services, under partial reverse tax mechanism, the receiver will pay 75% and provider will pay 25% only. Under works contract services, 50% will 50% will pay by receiver and 50% will pay by provider. Security services, just like a manpower services, 75% pay by receiver and 25% paid by provider. Rent a cab services without abatement, that means if the full bill is there, so 40% will be paid by a receiver and 60% will be paid by a provider. This is the partial reverse charge mechanism where entire amount will not pay by the receiver. He paid just a part of the service tax as per notification of Government of India. So we will check out this reverse charge mechanism and partial reverse charge mechanism is not applicable to. However, the reverse charge mechanism is not applicable to every person. Following are the recipient exempted from the payment under the partial reverse charge mechanism. The individual partnership firm received services from company, then they are not liable to pay service tax under the partial reverse charge mechanism. If individual and partnership firms are not receiving the services from company, then they are not liable to pay a service tax under reverse charge mechanism. So we'll check out how to calculate the service tax. Under 100% reverse charge mechanism, if a lawyer provides a service to your company worth rupees 10,000, then you need to calculate the service tax at the rate of 14%, that is rupees 1 on rupees 10,000, 14%, that is 1400 rupees, and company need to pay 1400 rupees as service tax to the government. And under the partial reverse charge mechanism, if a security agency provides a service to your company worth rupees 10,000 and charge service tax rupees at the rate of 14%, that is 1400, then company will deduct 75% of service tax amount, that is 1050 rupees, and pay that amount to service tax department, and the remaining amount 350 will be paid to the agency and they will pay to the government. In this way, this 100% reverse charge mechanism and partial reverse charge mechanism will work. So I hope you understand the distinction or difference between these two mechanisms. So we just check out who is responsible for paying a service tax under reverse charge mechanism. Under the both cases, that means reverse charge, 100% reverse charge or partial reverse charge, receiver is responsible to deduct and pay to the government. That means the receiver is responsible for deduct and pay to the government a service tax, and assessee cannot deny his responsibility to deduct and payment of service tax to the government. That means it's his duty, assessee's duty to deduct and pay the service tax to the government. That's it. This is the end of session. Thanks for visiting freetaxedu.com.